Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I want to talk to you about a couple of things in this video. I'm going to start off with the developments when it comes to Gaza. Today, Israel had more massacres in Jabalia, during which they killed 7 children and over 12 people in total. And they're still conducting attacks against the Kamal Udwan hospital. The Kamal Udwan hospital manager is again saying that they're functioning with the bare minimum. They don't have anything that they need, hardly anything that they need when it comes to material, equipment, medication, but they're doing whatever they can to support the people. This came simultaneously with more attacks from the Palestinian resistance. The Palestinian resistance, they had multiple attacks on the genocide forces inside of Gaza. One of them was from Al-Quds brigades, who launched a barrage at the Netzarim line, right, where Israel is trying to establish itself and act like the boss in Gaza, that, you know, they're not withdrawing from there. No, the Palestinian resistance is attacking that location very regularly. And now they've been hit really hard by the Al-Quds brigades. Then there was a drone attack. A drone attack coming from Al-Qassam brigades, from Al-Zawari. They make this drone. They produce this drone. Now, they had this and they landed it on a location where there was a soldier gathering for the IDF or IGF, call them as you want, in Khan Yunis. And they had a successful attack, alongside more direct engagements with the genocide troops inside of Gaza, indicating that these fighters of the Palestinian resistance, they're having a lot of good up-to-date intel about the genocide forces inside of Gaza. This is something that frustrates Israel. They've been working really hard to, of course, try and take down as much as possible when it comes to the resistance, failing time after time. And for the Palestinian resistance to be able to conduct these operations inside of Gaza, all of that indicates that they have a very good level of intelligence over the ground and under the ground. And the fact that they're still able to target Israel with things like drones inside of Gaza is a significant accomplishment. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is an interview one of the main journalists when it comes to Hizbullah inside of Lebanon. His name is Hussein Murtada, this guy over here. He had an interview with a Lebanese network online called Spotshot, in which he revealed a couple of interesting things. First thing is, the night of the attack on Homs from the armed opposition in Syria, and when Hizbullah had a secret meeting, had a dealing with HTS during the Battle of Homs. Now, the deterrence of aggression campaign, it was finalized relatively quickly, in just 11 days. Things were moving really rapidly. And it was considered at the time that if the armed opposition would reach Homs, that's it. They will be reaching Damascus and they will be controlling Damascus. Now, Hezbollah deployed some of their forces to Homs at the time, and that was confirmed by this reporter, this journalist. Now, the interesting thing is, they met, according to him, according to his statement in this interview, they met with the Syrian army. The Syrian army, when they met them inside of Homs, they told them, you remain here, we're going to the front lines. Meaning, no, we're taking the initiative. You don't have to fight Hezbollah, we'll go. Only to find out what? That the army of Assad, they did not fight, no nothing. And all of a sudden, they're encountering the HTS, the armed opposition. HTS do not come and start shooting at Hezbollah or anything. They talk to them. 2 senior figures, both from Hezbollah and from HTS, including the soldiers on the ground, I'm telling you, these were groups they used to fight before. They are coordinating. They coordinated according to that report, and they reached an agreement. No, we're not here to fight you, but that's it. We're controlling. We're going to be controlling Syria from now on. And Hizbullah are saying that the Syrian army is not fighting. There's something suspicious, and they secured their withdrawal to Lebanon. And Hezbollah continue their communication with them. And that was just before Hezbollah started to change their tone in their media alongside Iran. Just over 1 week into the campaign. All right. What happened after that? According to him, to Murtada, he's saying that the Russians started to leave their positions even from that time. Starting to leave their positions in Al-Qunaitra, an area where Israel is now invading in the south, alongside other strategic locations. In essence, a backstabbing from Russia. In what appears to be, rather than a backstabbing, a massive deal. A massive deal where Russia would end its war with Ukraine at positive terms, relatively positive terms, in exchange for Syria. But for the sake of who, when it comes to Syria, that's the big question. Well, we would ask ourselves, who's the biggest player inside of Syria? The biggest player is Turkey. Turkey understood that they have a powerful position, as they are a NATO member, who enjoy very good relations with Russia, and they have already coordinated with them in Syria. And they want to be the biggest international player when it comes to Syria, due to the history, due to the fact that they have the biggest number of refugees, how big the borders are, their security concerns, and the list goes on, the economic concerns or economic interests, all of that. They clearly had a deal with the Russian side. Russia, although they acted surprised on the day, clearly had some sort of an indication coming from Turkey. Now, the Turkish foreign minister, he previously said, we notified Iran and Russia. We notified Iran and Russia. This, according to previous reports, could have happened during the campaign or just after the campaign began, because this is what we heard initially. Turkey began this campaign backing HTS and SNA, and then they told the Iranian side and the Russian side. But some of the information that's coming out now, and again, it's based on certain sources, like, for example, this Hussein Murtada guy, he has his version, but he has communications on the ground too. According to that, there might have been a communication between the Russian side and the Turkish side beforehand, potentially before Iran knew. Or Iran could have been already in the picture as well before, but they haven't necessarily informed Hezbollah, because they already deployed some of their fighters to Homs at the time as a precautionary measure, only for them to find out that they are already faced with HTS and that the Syrian army is fighting no one, alongside the change of tone, right? Hezbollah releasing statements and articles that Julan is changing and HTS are changing, all of these things, which was an interesting input, simply because it can indicate that the Russians did know before, and they were one of the main players from the beginning. That's why there are more and more voices talking about or criticizing the Russian role in what happened in Syria, because of their deal with Turkey that is directly linked with Ukraine. How likely is that deal with Ukraine to happen? Well, no one knows yet, because everything is still happening inside of Syria. Things are developing rapidly. and there are talks about a potential, peace treaty or a long ceasefire in Ukraine, but only time will reveal if we're headed towards a more of a ceasefire or peaceful process and de-escalation, or the opposite, an actual escalation.